Eli was sitting across from a man he had never seen before. The man wore a dark suit. His face was calm, almost too calm. He asked the question without emotion, as if he were talking about something ordinary. "Are you ready to become rich?" The sentence echoed in the room. Eli felt his heart beating faster. He thought about his hard life, all the times he'd had to lie to hide his poverty, every silent humiliation he had endured. This question felt like an open door in front of him. He answered without thinking. "Yes. I'm ready." The man opened a briefcase and took out a contract. He placed it in front of Eli. No speech, no explanation, just a thick document, entirely in English. Eli didn't understand the language, but his attention was immediately caught by one line at the bottom, written clearly. 50 million after signing. That was enough. He didn't need the rest. He thought about everything he had always wanted, changing his life, helping his family, proving to everyone that he could succeed too. He already saw himself leaving behind the life he had hated for years. The man handed him a pen. Eli felt a mix of fear and excitement, but excitement won. He took the pen. He signed, just a simple signature, a signature that would change everything. The man closed the contract with a slow, almost ceremonial gesture. Then he said calmly, "Welcome to your new life." He handed the briefcase to Eli. It felt heavy like an invisible responsibility. Eli wanted to ask questions. Why me? Why so easy? Where is the catch? But no words came out. The man nodded once and added, "Remember, once it's signed, there's no going back." Eli felt a shiver. Not a visible fear, just that strange sense that something had just been sealed around him. He held the briefcase tight against his chest, stood up, and at that moment he thought only one thing. My life has finally begun. He had no idea that this yes would cost him far more than 50 million could ever give him. The sudden rich man of Eastbridge. When Eli reappeared in his neighborhood, Eastbridge district, with the briefcase full of money, everybody noticed. In a single night he went from being a young man with no future to a man with pockets full of cash. The very next day, he bought a big new house in Eastbridge. Automatic gate, shiny tiles, a living room so large you could host a party in it. Then he bought a luxury car, a big black SUV that drew every eye in the district. People watched him pass the way they watch a celebrity. Very quickly, rumors started. "Eli, how did you become rich like that? Looks like he won the lottery. He was poor yesterday. Today he's driving a minister's car." Everywhere he went, people questioned him. The stares, the whispers, everyone wanted to know. Eli always kept the same smile, a smile that hid a secret far too heavy. He answered calmly. "It's God. It's hard work. I fought, I just got my chance." The more he said that, the more people believed him. In Eastbridge, people began to say, "Eli is an example. God really blessed him. When it's your moment, it's your moment. We must believe in ourselves, look at Eli." The truth was that Eli was playing with a lie, but he played it well. No one suspected that this money wasn't a gift, but a trap. The offering that should never have been given. One evening, while he was sitting in front of his new house, his best friend, Jerome, came to see him. Jerome was the only person to whom Eli wanted to show his success, but not his secret. Jerome looked at the house, the car, the new clothes, then said, "Brother, if all this really comes from God, you have to go say thank you." Eli frowned. "What do you mean?" "Go to church. Give a part of your money. You can't keep all this to yourself. A blessing must be shared." Those words hit Eli like a punch, because he knew that this money was not supposed to be shared. The pact forbade it. But saying no to Jerome would have revealed too much. So Eli forced a smile. "You're right. I'll do it." But while he was speaking, his heart was tightening, because he knew that by giving that money, he was breaking a rule he had never even taken the time to read. That night, in his luxurious but cold house, Eli didn't sleep. He paced around, repeating, "If I refuse, they'll doubt me. If I accept, I'm taking a risk." Finally, he chose what seemed the simplest solution. Accept. Act like everything was normal. Continue the lie to the end. He didn't yet know that this decision would destroy lives and trigger the first warnings of the pact he had signed. The money the pastor refused. Sunday morning came faster than Eli would have liked. He woke up with a weight on his chest, like he was about to make a mistake he couldn't avoid. But he forced himself to stay calm. Everyone thought his money came from God. He had to play his role. He prepared a thick envelope, well filled. Fresh bills, stacked and arranged, with a strong smell of wealth, but an aftertaste of danger. He went to New Hope Church, the main church in Eastbridge. As he walked in, several people turned to look at him. He had become someone in the neighborhood. The women whispered, "There's the one God blessed." The men murmured, "He's going to give a big offering today." Eli smiled, but his stomach was in knots. After the prayer, he walked up to Pastor Emmanuel and handed him the envelope. The pastor took it gently, as if it were something fragile. He opened it just a little, just a few millimeters. Suddenly, his expression changed. His eyes widened slightly. His fingers trembled. A chill ran up his arm. He snapped the envelope shut. "No, my son. I cannot accept this." Eli froze. "But Pastor, it's just an offering." The pastor shook his head without even looking at the envelope. "This money is not good. It carries something. Something I do not want to let into this place. Take it back." Inside, Eli began to panic. The lie he had been carrying for days was becoming too heavy. "Pastor, I just want to thank God. This money is not from God. I can feel it. There is a presence on it, a bad presence. I cannot keep it." Around them, a few members of the church watched, wondering what was happening. Eli felt the eyes on him. He was getting nervous. That's when one of the church leaders, Victor, approached quietly. Victor was known for being close to the church leadership, but less spiritual than the pastor. He smiled at Eli and whispered, "If the pastor refuses it, don't worry. Give me the envelope, I'll take care of it." He glanced around to make sure no one was listening. Then he added, "God sees your heart. Give it to me." Relieved to find a solution, Eli handed him the envelope without thinking. Victor quickly slipped it into his jacket and walked away as if nothing had happened. Eli felt lighter. He thought the problem was solved. He even smiled as he left the church, convinced that nothing bad would happen to him. He was terribly wrong. 3 days later, Eastbridge was in shock. News spread. Victor had been found dead in his home. No wounds, no known illness, just dead, as if his life had been taken during his sleep. People said, maybe a heart attack. Maybe some hidden health problem. But Pastor Emmanuel remained silent. He knew it was not natural. A week later, in the middle of the night, a strange fire broke out and destroyed a large part of New Hope Church. The fire seemed to come from nowhere. No short circuit. No candles left burning. No witnesses. Just flames. Fast, violent flames, as if something wanted to cleanse the place. The next morning, the residents stood before the blackened walls, broken windows, charred benches. They said, "It's an accident. Maybe an electrical cable. Just bad luck." But Pastor Emmanuel stood in front of the ruins, his eyes dark, and murmured, "Someone brought a dangerous presence among us, and it has claimed what belongs to it." Nobody listened to him. For them, it was just coincidence. But for the pastor, it was confirmation. Eli's money was not a blessing. It was poison. Poison that had already begun to kill. And Eli, in his new luxurious home, had no idea that this was only the beginning. The guardian of the contract. The first night when everything began, Eli thought it was just a nightmare. He had gone to sleep in his new house, proud of everything he had bought, a huge bedroom, a giant bed, white sheets that still smelled new. He believed that with money, he would finally find peace. Around 3 in the morning, he heard something moving on the floor. A light sound. A soft sliding noise, like something crawling. He slowly opened his eyes. There, in the corner of his room, he saw a black snake, long, thick, shiny. Its red eyes were fixed on him, as if the creature had been waiting for him. Eli sat up in bed in a panic, his breath cut short. The snake didn't move. It didn't hiss. It was just there, present. For several minutes, Eli stayed still, paralyzed by fear. Then, without any sound, the snake disappeared, like it had never existed. Eli spent the rest of the night sitting on his bed, unable to close his eyes. The next night, it was worse. He tried to sleep early, thinking it was just a bad dream. But as soon as his eyelids closed, a cold draft passed through the bedroom. A strange chill, like the temperature dropped suddenly. He opened his eyes. The snake was there again, but this time, closer. Right at the foot of his bed. Eli didn't dare move. His heart was beating so fast he thought he would faint. The snake moved slowly, centimeter by centimeter, without a sound. Then it stopped. And in an impossible way, it spoke. Not with a human voice, but with a voice that echoed directly inside Eli's head, like a powerful whisper. You sleep, you die. Eli felt his entire body freeze. He wanted to run, scream, escape, but he remained stuck in place. And just like the night before, the snake vanished. On the third night, Eli understood. He hadn't only signed to become rich. He had signed to lose something. And what he had just lost was sleep. Even the possibility of closing his eyes. The moment he closed them for even 1 second, the image of the snake appeared in his mind, a threat, a shadow ready to strangle him. He tried to stay awake. He turned the TV up loud, walked through the house, drank coffee, opened the windows. But each minute that passed made him weaker. And the more he fought against sleep, the more he felt the snake's presence, even in broad daylight. Like the creature was following him. Invisible, but real. Then he understood the horror of the pact. The snake was not a nightmare. It was not a hallucination. It was the guardian of the contract. A living reminder that nobody becomes rich for free. Eli had never read the contract, but now he understood. He had traded his freedom for money. He had sold his peace in exchange for a lie. He had sold his sleep. And as long as he stayed rich, the snake would come back each night to make sure he never slept again. Wherever he spent, destruction followed. Eli no longer slept. The nights had become hell, a constant battle against the snake watching him, crawling through his room, threatening him the moment he closed an eye. Desperate to escape, to breathe a little, he decided to go out, to distract himself, to pretend he still had a normal life. If I can't sleep, he thought. At least I will enjoy myself. That Friday, he went to a big nightclub downtown in Rivergate, the nearby city. The place was full of life. Lights flashing, music shaking the walls. Eli arrived with the smell of money that attracted attention. As soon as he walked in, people shouted. Eli is here. That's the new rich guy. Hey brother, buy us some bottles. He pulled out wads of cash, threw them in the air, bought drinks for everyone. The party became even crazier. People danced around him, laughed, adored him. He felt alive. Important. For a few hours, he forgot the snake. Forgot the pact. Forgot the fear. But the next morning, the news hit like a shock. Club Nebula, the nightclub he'd gone to, had burned during the night. A violent fire, out of nowhere. The building had gone up in flames. Nobody understood how. But Eli felt a shiver. It was exactly like the church. Exactly like Victor. The same destruction. He tried again. He told himself it was just a coincidence. The following week, he went to another nightclub, Paradise Lounge, even bigger, even more expensive. The same scene repeated. Eli arrived. Everyone cheered. He spent money, showered people with drinks. The party was incredible. The next day, a terrible accident happened right in front of the club. A car had crashed into the entrance. Several people were injured. The nightclub stayed closed for weeks. Eli felt something was following him. Something that destroyed everything he touched. Then he tried the shops. One afternoon, he went into a high-end clothing store in Rivergate called Aurora Styles. He spent like never before: watches, shoes, shirts, perfumes. The salespeople were smiling, filled with this miraculous day. The next day, the store was robbed. All the stock stolen. Security cameras scrambled. The police didn't understand a thing. Once again, the place where he had left money was destroyed. He tried to help people discreetly. Maybe if I give quietly, he thought, it'll fix the problem. He gave money to a young man in Eastbridge, just to help him pay his rent. The next day, the young man was found dead. No violence. No illness. Just dead. Eli felt his heart shatter. He gave a bill to a neighbor who was hungry. That same day, the neighbor fell sick. A strange, violent illness with no explanation. Then Eli understood the rule of the pact, even without having read the contract. Every shared coin, a destroyed life. Every expense, a disaster. Every act of generosity, a punishment. This wasn't a blessing. It was poison. And every night, the snake came back, closer, louder, as if to remind him. You give nothing. You never sleep. You pay until your last day. Wherever Eli went, bad luck, death, and catastrophe followed him like a shadow. And now he understood something terrible. Yes, he had become rich. But the price was destroying everyone who came near him. No way out, or so it seemed. Eli was no longer the same man. His eyes were hollow, red, almost lifeless. His body trembled as soon as night fell. Every day he prayed for something to change, but nothing changed. The snake came back. The disasters continued. And his wealth felt heavier than a curse. One morning, after yet another sleepless night, he made a decision. He would go back to see Pastor Emmanuel. New Hope Church still smelled of burnt wood from the fire. The walls bore the marks of the flames. But Eli walked in anyway. He went to the front, his hands trembling. The pastor saw him approaching and his face grew serious, almost grave. Pastor, I can't take it anymore. Eli's voice broke. He pressed a hand to his forehead, as if his skull might explode. I want to get out of this. I want my life back. I want to sleep. I want it all to stop. Please. Pastor Emmanuel sighed deeply. He looked at Eli like a man standing on the edge of a cliff. My son, he said softly. I warned you from the beginning. You accepted something that is not refused. A pact like yours has no way back. Eli felt his throat tighten. But there must be a solution, he begged. A prayer, a ritual, something. I'm still young. I don't deserve this. The pastor shook his head slowly. My son, what you signed was not just a contract. It was an exchange. And once the exchange is made, the debt must be paid. No one on this earth can save you. Eli collapsed to his knees. He pressed his hands to his face and began to cry. I regret it. I regret it so much. But regrets don't change a pact. Eli went home, walking slowly, his heart crushed. His big house no longer pleased him. His SUV parked outside no longer made him proud. Everything he owned terrified him. He spent the whole day locked in his room, thinking, rethinking, trying to imagine a way to survive, a way to escape the nightmare. As the sun went down, his anxiety rose, because he knew what night meant. Night falls. The snake arrives. Around midnight, a strange cold filled the house. The lights flickered. Silence grew heavy. Eli jumped to his feet, already panicking. Then he heard it. That sound he hated. The sound he feared more than anything. The sliding noise of the snake. First in the hallway. Then in the living room. Then just outside the bedroom door. Eli backed up until he hit the wall, his hands shaking. The door opened slowly, as if pushed by an invisible force. The snake entered. Bigger than ever. Darker. Its red eyes shone in the dim light. It stopped in the middle of the room. And for the first time, it spoke clearly, with a heavy, cold voice that echoed like a thunderclap. Tonight is your last night. You've enjoyed enough. Now you must die. Eli let out a broken scream. No, it's only been 6 months since I signed. I'm still so young. I still have my whole life ahead of me. The snake moved forward slightly. Its tongue slid out slowly, as if tasting his fear. You signed. Now you pay. Eli backed up again, but there was no more space. He was cornered. His heart pounded like a drum about to burst. The lights went out. A heavy thud echoed. A muffled cry. Then nothing. Eli opened his eyes with a violent jolt. He screamed, an angry, terrified, confused scream. He was panting, sweating as if he had been running all night. He sat up quickly, his hands shaking. He looked around, and slowly his heart began to calm. He wasn't in his big house. Not in a luxury bedroom. Not in the room where the snake had threatened him. No. He was in his small, simple bedroom. The same walls he had known for years. The same old mattress. The same little window. He put his hand on the bed. The fabric was familiar. The silence was normal. No presence. No snake. He stayed seated for a long time, breathing unevenly, trying to understand. Then, little by little, the truth came into his mind like a soft light. Everything he had lived. Everything he had suffered. All those nights, that pact, that snake. It had all been a dream. A dream, or maybe a warning. Eli stood up slowly. He opened the door of his modest house in Eastbridge. The neighborhood was exactly the same. Children playing in the street. Neighbors talking in front of their homes. A woman selling fried dough at the corner. He took a deep breath. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. It was just a dream. He hadn't signed anything. He hadn't lost anything. He still had his life. A real smile appeared on his face, a sincere smile, like he hadn't had in a long time. A few days later, as he was sitting in front of his house, a friend of his, Sam, came running, all excited. Eli. I found someone, a serious guy. He can make us rich quickly. Very quickly. He says he knows secrets nobody else knows. When Eli heard that, his whole body froze. The scene was too similar to the beginning of his dream. The words. The tone. The intention. He felt a cold chill down his back. No, he murmured quietly. Sam frowned. What do you mean, no? This is an opportunity. He said. Eli cut him off. I got a warning. Sam fell silent immediately. Eli took a deep breath and told him everything. The pact. The money. The snake. The sleepless nights. The deaths. The disasters. The trap behind fast money. Sam listened, mouth open, terrified. So, you mean, that kind of thing, it's not a blessing? No, Eli answered. It's a trap. I've seen what it leads to. It's not from God. It's death in disguise. Sam stepped back, shocked. My brother, I'm not going. Never. Thank you. Thank you for telling me. He hugged Eli, afraid, but grateful. The following Sunday, Eli went to New Hope Church, this time with a truly humble heart. He sat at the back, lowered his head, and let the tears flow. Not tears of sadness, but of gratitude. When Pastor Emmanuel asked if anyone had a testimony, Eli stood up. His legs were trembling, but he walked forward. He took the microphone and spoke with a strong voice filled with truth. I received a warning. I want to thank God for saving me before I fell. I want to tell everyone listening. Don't run after easy money. Not everything that shines is a blessing. I saw, in a dream, the end of those who sell their soul to become rich. And I came to tell you. Never sign with the enemy. The whole church was silent. Some people cried. Others murmured prayers. Eli raised his eyes toward heaven. Thank you for the warning. Thank you for the second chance. I promise to tell my story to save at least one person from the temptation of fast money. That day, Eli understood something important. Sometimes God doesn't give you riches. He gives you warnings. And these warnings save more than money ever could. The moral of Eli's story. After sharing his testimony, Eli walked home slowly, like someone who has just avoided an enormous danger. In his heart, he felt a mix of fear, gratitude, and, in the middle of it all, understanding. He had finally understood the true message behind that dream which felt so real. 1. Easy money is always trapped. Eli understood that wealth that is too fast, too shiny, too easy is never free. In his dream, he had seen houses burn, friends die, nightclubs destroyed, people falling sick, panic, loneliness, all of that from just one choice. Wanting money faster than life is meant to give it. He learned that money that arrives with no effort often takes something with it. Peace, health, relationships, future. And often, that kind of money ends up costing more than it ever brings. 2. Temptations always come back. A few days after his awakening, a friend already came to offer him a great opportunity. Just like in his dream. Like a trap that returns. Eli understood that life doesn't warn us only once. Life tests us. Retest us. Test us again. Each temptation comes back with a different appearance, a different face, but the same intention, to pull us onto a dangerous path. What Eli lived in his dream wasn't just a nightmare. It was preparation. A warning. A way of showing him what he truly risked in the future. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more African stories. See you in my next story.